Well, Judge, this is just the beginning of what will be a very robust response by both local, state, and federal officials. We come together today as we deal with one of the most heinous attacks that we've ever seen in the history of Texas schools. It's impossible to describe the magnitude of the evil of someone who would attack innocent children in a school, a place of learning where parents should be able to send their children without fear for their child's safety. It's with a very heavy heart that I can confirm that as of this time, there have been 10 lives that have been lost and another 10 that have been wounded. Our Colonel Steve McCraw from State Police. It's time in Texas that we take action to step up and make sure this tragedy is never repeated ever again in the history of the state of Texas.
What about the officer who shot?
Right, yes, they have warrants out concerning the person who was responsible for the shooting, and they include warrants to search 2 residences. The reason why there's some slowness in being able to undertake these searches is because of the potential for explosive devices to be found in these residences, as they want to make sure they're able to enter them without anybody being harmed. One reason why there is concern about explosive devices is that various different kinds of explosive devices have already been detected. One was a CO2 device. Another was a Molotov cocktail, and there are various other types of explosive devices that have been identified both in a home as well as in a vehicle. The shooter has information contained in journals on his computer and a cell phone that he said that not only did he want to commit the shooting, but he wanted to commit suicide after the shooting. As you probably know, he gave himself up and admitted at the time that he didn't have the courage to commit the suicide, that he wanted to take his own life earlier. So you'll know there are 1 or 2 other people of interest that are going to be and are currently being interviewed. One is a person who was at the scene, and we cannot definitively say whether or not this is a person who may have had some level of involvement in the crime. There was just some suspicious reactions on the part of this person that we want to make sure that this person is adequately investigated. And then separate from that, there is another person where we have certain information that we want to make sure this other person is going to be fully interviewed to see if there's information to be gleaned from this other person who at this time will not be identified. The weapons used in this attack, there are 2 weapons. One was a shotgun, and the other is a .38 revolver. Neither of these weapons were owned or legally possessed by the shooter. It's my information that both of these weapons were obtained by the shooter from his father. It's my information at this time that the father legally owned these weapons. I have no information at this time whether or not the father was aware that his son had taken these weapons from the father. One of the frustrating things in the early status of this case is, unlike Parkland, unlike Sutherland Springs, there were not those types of warning signs. We have what are often categorized as red flag warnings. And here, the red flag warnings were either non-existent or very imperceptible. There is, from his Facebook page, a t-shirt that says "Born to Kill." That would be maybe the only, if not the foremost warning sign.